Hi, my name is Megan Warshaw. I was on bus 464 with Israel Free Spirit Aish, New York. My favorite part about my trip to Israel was not really a landmark we went to or somewhere we remembered a moment, but it was getting to know the 7 Israeli soldiers that were with us and realizing at one point that they're just like all of us who came on the trip. They're just living in Israel, and part of living in Israel is serving the Israeli Defense Force, but they all have hobbies that are just like ours. Some of them listen to music, some of them play sports, but they're all just teenagers and young adults that are just like the ones that I went with on the trip in May. Some of the highlights of the trip were especially the Golan Heights hike. Um, just to tell you, you really don't know someone until you've hiked with them, especially if they're a stranger. That was probably the best way to get to know my group, was hiking with them and getting ahead of people and getting mixed up from the people you felt comfortable the first day with. We finished the hike and we seriously were just all on the bus and everyone was talking and there wasn't any silence. Everyone was just talking about how painful it was and how out of breath they were, but after that point, it was like a turning point where our group connected and everyone was just I could just say they were just connected. We had this bond going on throughout the whole trip after that point. Seeing the Kotel. I know friends of mine who've been on Taglit and they've seen the Kotel, but what was special about going with Aish was that not only did we get to see the Kotel once during Shabbat and being able to have that moment, but we also went back before we left a second time, so we could pray on our own, not just during Shabbat, and some people took pictures, and it was really touching not to just say, oh, I went to the Kotel. It was a good thing to have pictures and being able to see what you were at and being able to say that you took that picture and remembering where you stood and what you were doing and who you were with. I remember after Shabbat, after I prayed at the Kotel, I stepped back and I was crying. It was really touching. And one of my friends from the group came and hugged me, and it was so touching that they reached out and they saw how emotional and how touching this was, but I wouldn't have wanted to share that experience with anyone else. It was very, very touching. I also liked not having a phone. I didn't get a the talking phone to use internationally. I didn't have a cell phone for 10 days, which was probably the best decision that I've made. I used my friends' phones to call my parents, but I felt more connected with Israel and my trip and my experience because I did not have a phone. Going to Engedi and being able to swim in the waterfall. It was after we went in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea was a lot of fun to float in, but the Engedi waterfall, it was this serene, calm, just a waterfall with a little pond underneath, and we all swam and took pictures and stood under the waterfall as the water was crashing down, and it was a good thing to do on the last few days there. Why you should go with Aish, the main question. Our staff was amazing. I don't think my trip would have been what it was if I didn't go with this staff, because every single one of them were amazing in their own way. Our tour guide Adam, when we went to Sfat in the north, he actually lives in Sfat, and it was just amazing to know that he knows where he's going and he knows what he's doing and he knows exactly what each landmark is, and that he walks there on a normal basis, that he's in Sfat and living there with his family. It was amazing getting to meet his family during Shabbat. When we walked back from the Kotel to the Aish Center, I carried his 4.5-year-old daughter up probably 200 stairs, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. I was so happy I get to meet him, but his wife and his 3 children that were there. Our other 2 staff members, Hadassah and Zahava, their characters. They were the funniest people, and it was great. We had headphones that were the Beats headphones, the ones that go over your head, and I remember that Hadassah has never had those on, and she put them on and her expression was so funny. It was just a lot of memories, and our Rabbi Winter, and our tour guide Natalie, they made the experience to Israel what it really was for us. But Aish was the perfect mix of religion, history, and just touring and fun that you need when you go to Israel. It wasn't just, oh, this is this, and here's the Wikipedia or Google explanation of it. It was all about religion and history and why this spot is important. It's not just for the state of Israel, but for the Jewish religion and how we all connect to Israel and it being our home. So I do hope that you come, and the next time that you're available to sign up to go on Taglit, that you do choose Aish New York Israel Free Spirit, because you definitely would not forget this experience, and you will not regret choosing to go with Aish. Because I know that if I had to redo this experience, I wouldn't change one thing about it.